He who can destroy a thing has the real control of it.
I was talking to my my coworker at work, and I was like, "Hey man, I'm seeing Dune 2 this weekend," and he was like, "What is Dude 2?" And I was like, "No, not Dude 2, Dune, Dune 2." And he was like, "Dude?" Like, dude. He thought I was seeing a movie in the theaters called Dude 2. Like, bruh. Anyways, that's not the point. So, today I am doing a review of Dune 2. And I think personally that this is a really good movie to start doing my review series on. So, I didn't really know about the Dune 2 franchise until recently. So, I feel like I'm not coming in here with any bias. And generally, like the sci-fi genre, sci-fi action is not usually my favorite. I do like movies from that genre, but for the most part, I feel like kind of all feeling like a little generic and kind of almost like copycats of each other. But every once in a while, I find a sci-fi action movie that I really enjoy. I'm really happy to say that the Dune franchise is on that list of sci-fi movies that I really enjoyed. Dune 2 has so many big name actors in it. From Timothy to Zendaya to Florence Pugh to Jason Momoa to Christopher Walken to Josh Brolin. You know, there's so many big actors in this movie. And I feel like sometimes with sci-fi movies and fantasy movies, when I see a big actor, sometimes for me it draws me out of the movie. But in Dune, I never felt that way. I never felt drawn out because, you know, a big actor is in the movie. Oh, and I forgot the guy from Guardians of the Galaxy is in it. Batista, I think is his last name. The big guy, the big buff guy from Guardians. I feel like this movie really nails the atmosphere with like the deserty, stranded feeling. Like there's so many beautiful shots of like the sunset in the desert. You know, the atmosphere is incredible throughout the movie. I love the attention to detail in this movie. Their outfits are all so detailed out and so cool. Like they have these awesome suits that they wear, these awesome masks. Everybody in the movie just looks so damn cool. All of the ships are so cool too, like the little wings that it's like a ship, but in a way it's like designed like a fly, where like they have these wings that like move really fast. I thought that was like really cool. All the bases, all the places they live, just like everything in the movie is just so cool looking. I really like the device that they, you know, dig into the sand to like draw the worms. Like, I don't know, there's just something so cool about it. It's like I want to have that item in a video game that I play. Like I think it's just so cool. It just like digs into the sand and goes gung, gung. And it's just, I don't know. It just every time they set that down, I was like, that is so badass. Like, I don't know. It's just so cool. Speaking of the worms, they're so cool in this movie. They're so massive and just so scary. They're so big and threatening. And I loved every time the worms would come in. It was just so cool. I wish I had more worms in this movie. I wish there were more worm scenes. The worms were so freaking cool. Every action scene in this movie was so like brilliantly executed. The tactics that the Fremen use to attack their enemy is so cool. Again, I won't go into spoilers, but every time it happened, I was just like, damn, like it was just so cool. I really like when there's like a dark undertone to sci-fi movies. Like a lot of the characters are really freaky looking, especially the bad guys. A lot of the people just in general are really, really weird. But I think that's what makes it so good, is because these characters are so weird. The way they live their lives are kind of weird. You know, they all have these weird rituals that they do. Both of the movies have like rituals that the main characters do, and I'm just like, what the hell? Like, just like really weird. I don't know. There's a lot of really weird dialogue and a lot of weird stuff in this movie. It's really like I've never really seen a movie like this. It's just like, it's so odd. But I think that's why I really, really, really enjoyed this movie, is because it was a sci-fi action adventure movie that felt refreshing. It wasn't the same old, same old. You know, I feel like I didn't really love any of the characters. And not to say that the characters are bad or like they didn't do a good job, because I feel like all of the actors did a really good job at, you know, performing as their characters. But I feel like every character is a little bit like one note. They all have these motives and, you know, they're in a war. But I don't know. I didn't really, I don't know. It's really hard to explain. I guess it's just the easiest way to say it is that I just didn't love any of the characters. Like the main character has his motives and you know, there's no Luke Skywalkers in the film, you know? There's like not a character that you can really be like, "Man, I love this character." There just isn't really any of that in that movie, and maybe it's just because like the dark undertone of the movie makes it so like they all just kind of seem like really focused on their goal. I'll actually say that Jason Momoa's character is pretty likable. You know, he's just like a loyal dude to, you know, the Duke and Paul. You know, and that's what the movie wanted. You know, they're all in a war, so it's not like they can be like happy all the time. There's not a lot of like, I don't know. There's not a lot of like happy scenes, I guess. But that's the whole point. They're in a war. It's like it's supposed to feel like dark and the characters are supposed to be angry. And watching them the first time, there are definitely some things that I'm just like, what? Why? Like, what? Wait, what? Why are they doing this? What are they doing this for? There's a lot of confusing dialogue for someone jumping into this for the first time without knowing anything. I also didn't like some of the choices they made with the characters at the end. But for more details on that, you're going to have to listen to the podcast on Tuesday. This is going to be a spoiler-free review. If you want to listen to me do a deep dive on this movie where I dissect scenes and characters, I am going to be doing a podcast with Bree on Tuesday, so stay tuned for that. So yeah, this movie has a great atmosphere, great action scenes, great attention to detail with the suits and the outfits and the gadgets that they use. The worms are freaking crazy and badass. The villains are crazy and badass. The villains are so awesome. There's a scene with one of the villains is one of the coolest scenes I've seen in a long time. Again, I don't want to go into too much detail, but there's a scene in there that is just so effing cool. This whole movie is just sprinkled everywhere with so many cool freaking scenes. It will rock your socks, dude. It's such a good movie. Dune 2 is definitely the best sci-fi movie I've seen in the last like 10 years. It's right up there with Star Wars Rogue One, and honestly, I'd probably put it above Star Wars Rogue One. You need to stop what you're doing right now, watch Dune 1 quickly, and go to the theaters and see Dune 2. Dune 2 is a movie theater movie. You will enjoy this movie so much more in the theaters, on the big screen, loud audio, massive screen. It doesn't get much better than that for this movie. All right, so quickly, I want to explain my movie rating system. This is going to be the system that I use throughout all of my videos. It's out of 10. 0 through 5 are trash movies, like movies that I would not recommend anyone to see. There's nothing that I enjoyed out of it. It's really hard to get in the 1 through 5. You gotta really F up a movie. The 6 range is, I didn't really like the movie, but there's something that I enjoyed out of it. 7 range is the range of movies that I enjoyed, but it's not like one of the best movies I've ever seen. It was just okay. Like there was something I enjoyed of it. You know, I enjoyed the movie overall, but not anything to write home about. 7.5 and above is what I would recommend people to go to the movie for. When you get into the 8s and the 8 range, we're talking like, oh my gosh, this movie rocks. It's awesome. You gotta go see this movie. I would recommend it to friends and family. I would recommend it to people. I would recommend it to you. When you're in the 8s, you're talking like maybe top 10 movie of the year, top 20 movie of the year, like really awesome movie. Definitely won't want to miss out on it. And then the 9 range is like, we're talking movie of the year. We're talking, holy shit, this will rock your socks off. You better stop what you're doing right now and see this movie. It should win Oscars. It will be remembered as a classic. stuff like that. If you're in the 9s, holy, you got yourself a good movie, guaranteed classic. All right, with all of that being said, I am giving Dune 2 an 8.8, which is a epic score, great score. 8.8, great action, great atmosphere, amazing ships and weapons and action scenes and fighting scenes, awesome duels, like awesome equipment. And don't get me started on the worms. The worms are so cool in this movie, so threatening, so menacing, so big and majestic and crazy. They're just like so frightening. The enemies and the worms in this movie are so frightening. The action scenes are incredible. I don't know what more you could ask for in a sci-fi movie. One of the best sci-fi movies I've seen of all time. It's probably up there, you know? It's just like one of the best sci-fi movies of all time. It's like that good. Go see it. If you like sci-fi action, if that's your jam, you'll probably think this movie's in the 9s. Like, it's a really fun action movie. I don't know what else you could ask for. And again, if you want to see me go into further detail, my podcast will be on Tuesday. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.